Digging deep behind the headlines of some of the stories that are floating around lately in your news feeds about UFOs. For more than 2 decades, our next guest, Dr. Lynne Kitei, has been desperately searching for answers, even putting her medical career on hold after witnessing a spectacle in the sky in 1995 that she could not explain. Look at her story.
I'm a healthy skeptic. I'm an accomplished medical doctor for many, many decades. But my husband, who's also a physician, and I had a very close sighting right outside our bedroom window for 3 amber orbs in a pyramid formation, closely aligned. And I thought, if I don't get a picture of this, no one's going to believe it. It was so unusual. One of them is disappearing. They were about 6 feet each, depending on how close they were, and they were pretty close. It was a uniform amber color, very soothing, very mesmerizing. 2 years later, they appeared again in a rock-solid formation. 6 orbs in a row, massive span at a distance. 2 months later, on March 13th, 1997, thousands of people saw what I had been seeing and documenting on film. I ran outside, and as I'm clicking away, it seemed that the entire thing turned as a unit. It was just mesmerizing and mind-boggling. After thousands of people witnessed the Phoenix lights, I pushed my entire medical career aside for 7 years, searching for a logical explanation.
Dr. Lynne Kitei joins us now. So I love the fact that you're a doctor, successful doctor, and you have said you are a skeptical person, that you, just like Adam, you live by science. And things changed in 95 and then again in 97 when you saw the Phoenix lights appear. When you look at that now, what do you see?
That actually is a smoking gun.
Oh.
I have to tell you that I took 2 months before the mass sighting, had a close sighting in 95, right outside our bedroom window, literally and figuratively right outside our bedroom window.
So on the video, I mean, I might say like, that could be a couple of airplanes, I don't know.
That actually was over a mile-wide formation at a distance that I caught head-on, 6 lights in a row.
What do you think those are?
Well, I called around and I found air traffic controllers at Sky Harbor International Airport the next morning because it was so unnerving and awesome and amazing. I wanted to find out as a scientist what I was looking at, and they were very forthcoming. This appeared over a mile-wide formation, UAP, over Class B restricted airspace, 1,000 feet altitude.
What is Class B restricted airspace?
There's a 30-mile radius around the airport. Anyone that comes into that radius must call into the airport, and no one did. So they got nervous. They looked on radar, did not show up on radar, took their high-powered binoculars to look, and in their own words, there were 6 points of light totally equidistant from each other, massive span, over a mile wide, that seemed to be attached to something, but they couldn't quite see what they were attached to. And one of them was a meteorologist, and he said that it actually turned as a unit against the wind. That's very telling. Elevated slowly and moved in synchrony, as he put it, behind South Mountain. So I said, so what was it? And there was silence. And then he said, beats me. I said, you're an air traffic controller. You're supposed to know what's in our airspace. He said the whole group saw this, and they ruled out every conventional aircraft, balloons, Chinese lanterns, flares.
Okay, so they're air traffic controllers. Aren't they supposed to call somebody?
Well,
like, hello, somebody's in the airspace.
Actually, we stayed in contact up until and including March 13th, 1997, when thousands of people happened to be outside looking skyward at the Hale-Bopp comet to get a glimpse of it, when they also got a glimpse of one, and according to Peter Davenport, the director of the National UFO Reporting Center, one of these objects was 8 miles wide. And we're not just talking about lights or orbs, we're talking about craft as well at rooftop level.
I should point out the official military explanation for the event was that the Maryland Air National Guard were using a nearby Air Force range to conduct night training, and an Air National Guard spokesperson at the time said the planes were dropping high-intensity flares from 15,000 feet to illuminate a target area. The flares, the spokesperson said, fell slowly by parachute to illuminate a wide area. You clearly don't believe them.
First of all, that's not what I saw right outside my bedroom window, or thousands of other people saw right above their heads. And we're talking not just lights, we're talking about craft. And if you go to the Phoenix Lights Network website,
to see my unique collection of photographs that have been analyzed and authenticated by military and university optical experts as true unknowns, but also the GAP page, GAP, Geospatial Animation Project. This is important, a 12-year study. 2 or more people had to see the same craft, which is totally silent. There were 10 different craft. Now, whether it was one craft that could morph, or the perspective from where they're standing, or a parade, and that's what was concluded.
I don't know what I believe, but I trust that you are reciting and have documented what happened in front of you. So that I'm not questioning. I guess what I'm always confused by is this. If the government is hiding this from us, it doesn't benefit them, because if they they live on the same planet we are all on. So why do you think?
They just don't know what to do with it.
Okay, so that's what I was getting to. So you think that the government is not shedding more light because they don't know? This is weird, but follow me.
Than they're saying, but the bottom line is, even with the Phoenix Lights, I mean, we have at 3 a.m. the next morning, there were jets sent out from Luke Air Force Base to try to intercept.
So you don't think that the flare's answer is valid?
Well, they tried to intercept one of these craft, and as they got close, the lights dimmed, and then it disappeared completely, and Luke went on lockdown from alleged crewmen that called the UFO Reporting Center. And also, 3 years after the Phoenix Lights, and there's no evidence that they did send flares. Maybe they did to divert attention, because they said they were doing Operation Snowbird, which means diversionary tactical maneuvers. So they may have been sending off flares, but 3 years later, 3 Air National Guards came into town to show everybody the Phoenix Lights, and we were ready. And talk about a joke. Flares drift and drop with the wind, have huge smoke trails that are illuminated by the flare itself. They tried to make a triangle, it was upside down, fell apart immediately. To this date, the Phoenix Lights have never been reenacted or explained.
So what do you think needs to happen next then? Because you have all of the photos, you have the documentation, you've given up your job with your family's support, by the way, as a medical professional, and you are a part of, I cannot tell you, if you look up the Phoenix Lights, how many websites, TikToks, videos, there's legions of people who want the answers. How do you demand the answers? Or are we just supposed to wait till the next time?
Well, first of all, I don't know what they were, but I know that they were. And it's time we get this topic out.
I like that you said that. I don't know what they were. So you're not assigning anything to it.
I don't know.
You're still skeptical, but you just want to know, and the answer that they've given is not one that you accept.
Well, it's time we get this topic out in the open. And that's why I came forward after 7 years of anonymity. And address it. It's enough. Address it, accept it, and study it, so we can find out not only who's driving these things, but also move forward in our own evolution. Because something is going on, whether they're here, whether they're visiting here, something is going on that we cannot explain.
This is amazing. Dr. Lynn, you're going to have to come back on the show. You're a whole hour by yourself.